Ben Simmons is being the 76ers' biggest nightmare ever. And it's just sad to see how much hate Ben has got, how much value the Sixers think Ben has, and just how Ben thinks he has the leverage to choose a team and request a trade when he's really the problem. And I just want to talk about Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons has been such a controversial just figure in this offseason, especially after that Hawks series. And it's going to be interesting, of course. The Sixers just came off from a disappointing season where they were the one seed, had an MVP season from Embiid, but after losing in the Hawks in 7 games, main reason being Ben Simmons, I don't know what's going on. So first, let's talk about Ben himself. So Ben has over the years been a pretty good player. He has progressed his defense and passing to be basically at an elite level. Being, I would say, maybe the best defensive, behind Drew Holiday, best defender point guard in the NBA. And with just him being so tall, so mobile, he's so good on defense. His passing, he knows where to get the open man. I don't know, this is a good example, but when LeBron and Danny Green played with LeBron James, I think he shot like 35%, 36%. Maybe it was just an off year. But after the year he played with Ben Simmons, he shot 43%. Now maybe it's, I'm not hating on LeBron. I love LeBron, but I think that this just shows that Ben can elevate shooters so much better. And even like Seth Curry had a career year. But when you're not a threat to score in a pick and roll, it's kind of tougher to see you as a good passer, especially when like, but pretend there's a pick and roll between Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. When Ben takes a screen, they're not going to step up, so they just all go under, and nothing basically happens after that. Now, of course, in the transition, he is so good at, especially when he's aggressive, getting around the paint, going ferocious in just dunking, or finding the open corner shooter in like Green or Seth. But Ben, he needs to be more aggressive. That's pretty much it. His shot, I think, would be so helpful to get, even like a mid-range shot. But it's first, he can't even do anything on offense without him being aggressive. He has all the tools in the world, being 6'11", 240, super strong to dominate in the paint like a LeBron James type. Now, I know that the spacing isn't the best with Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris being an average shooter, but I still think he can do it. Now, let's see. So, him requesting a trade isn't really good. I mean, it's good that we want to know where he wants to go to. He, of course, wants to go to the LA teams or a California team. Maybe like the Kings, the Warriors, maybe like the Lakers, maybe. Probably not, but I think it's a really interesting thing. I will talk about Ben Simmons trades later, but why are the Sixers asking for so much? Well, they, of course, still think that Ben has the same trade value as he did less than a year ago, being a main part of his superstar offer. That being basically the main piece in the James Harden deal. And they're trying to get Damian Lillard. I can tell they want him desperately, but Ben Simmons is not the same asset. I would say he probably cut his value like in half, maybe like 70. He cut it by 30%. That's how bad he played in the playoffs. And hopefully, I think he can have a bounce back season to whatever team he gets traded to. But with the 76ers asking for two young players, like so many picks, an all-star in return, I think that's too much. Ben still is an amazing player. Both him not even reporting to training camp, the value went significantly downhill, and I don't think they can get a really good offer anymore. Maybe they can settle for CJ McCollum, maybe try to get Robert Covington in that deal, but maybe that deal isn't even on the table anymore. I mean, I think it is, but maybe they go for like, I don't know, 2 starter level players and a couple picks, and with them like rejecting that Malcolm Brogdon offer, which I thought they could have got a little bit more, but I think that would have been a pretty good offer, but they did decline that. But it's an interesting situation because the clock is ticking. If he's not going to play, you have to trade him. I don't think they can convince him otherwise. And yes, Joel Embiid, Doc Rivers, I didn't say the nicest things about Ben, but I think he needs that tough love to just be a better player. His mentality isn't very good right now, as we can see with him. Not just improving his jump shot, not getting better every season, and Ben Simmons is so polarizing. Now, I would like to say that Ben Simmons is not a scrub. Fans think he's a scrub, starting point guard of the Shanghai Sharks, not even good enough to be on the Shanghai Sharks, but he's still a good player. Like I said, he's a good passer. He still averages 14 points a game, still a defensive player of the year caliber player, got All-NBA first team, the runner-up this year. Now he's no longer that top 30 player, but I still would say he's still a top 40, top 50 player. Maybe he's not a top 10 point guard anymore. I don't know, but I still think that if he gets traded, he can have a bounce back season, especially if he gets traded to a team like the Kings, where they probably trade Marvin Bagley, Buddy Hield, and I think he can really break out with De'Aaron Fox and just helping their defense so much, not having that pressure of being in a big market, but instead there's really no expectations for Ben if he's on a small market team like the Kings or the Timberwolves. And even for the Timberwolves, he would be perfect for that team, especially if they can keep Ant-Man, D'Lo, and Cat. That would be such a good team. Their defense would be improved. I think he would be a really good fit with Cat. He doesn't have to shoot threes because Karl-Anthony Towns is arguably the greatest shooting big man of all time, or shooting center. I would say Dirk is a better shooter than him. So right now, I mean, I guess that's arguable, but I still think I really like the Wolves fit. I really like the Kings fit. Maybe even a team like, I don't know. Maybe, just off the top of my head, the Blazers, of course. I think he would be a perfect fit, helping their defense so much. I think he can really average like 20 points a game. I think also a big part is, can Ben Simmons play the center position? I know he's a point guard right now. We're gonna move from point guard to center, but he's 6'11", he's 240. He can guard 1 through 5. He can't guard like Jokic or Embiid, but he can guard most fives. And I think being a center, he doesn't have to shoot when you're a center. And he can still run an offense, which is super rare of a center. And I think that would be really good for his game, or even just running the power forward position, just not running the point guard position. And Ben just needs a fresh start, whether that's being on a new team, being used differently, playing even a different position, changing his whole play style, maybe getting some better coaching. I think that Ben, the way he is right now, I don't think is the right recipe. I'm sure nobody thinks is the right recipe. And I think that he also needs to be on a small market. There's no pressure on him. There's just no expectations to be that superstar like he is on a team like the Sixers, who are one of the most loyal fan bases in the NBA, and Sixers fans hate him right now. I would say he's the most hated player in Philadelphia. Makes sense. He pretty much choked. They're gonna get some assets for him, but just this Ben Simmons, he's gonna be such a nightmare for this team right now. It's maybe their worst possible situation that they could have had. They still have him. His trade value is going down. They didn't trade him at the right time to maximize his full trade value. But Daryl Morey, he still is a mastermind. He's still looking at maybe he knows something we don't. Maybe you'll be able to still make a blockbuster trade. But Ben Simmons is the 76ers' biggest nightmare right now.